Hello, friends, and welcome to the channel. This is a podcast where I share my insights. And today I'm talking about organizing the creative process. The creative process fascinates me. And there's a way to get it organized, believe it or not, because it can seem chaotic because you're swimming around in ideas. So, I want to help you. If you want to be a creative person, I want to help you through this process of getting organized. So stick around. You may not think that you're a creative person, but you're constantly manifesting, which is what creativity is. And this process is a singular stroke, if you will, a circular ecosystem. Let me just give you an example of a very simple creative process. You're hungry. That's a creative process. Let's say you get hungry. So the creative process arises in you, just like that. And you noticed, I'm hungry. Then your taste buds start to salivate, your stomach growls, and your brain starts cooking. It starts throwing out ideas of what might be appetizing. Chinese, a sandwich, a smoothie, whatever. And you settle on these things that seem to be popping into your head, but they're not choices. Because the choice ultimately arises within you as a settling. I want a sandwich. So that's part of it. Then you go into the kitchen, take 2 pieces of bread and make a sandwich and feed yourself, and the process comes to a close. So it's all an ecosystem that provides. So you have this baseline or the ground of being. Hunger arises in you. The so-called choices, narrowing it down, getting into it, getting appetized, and going to the kitchen and making it. And voila, you are a creative person. Now, a lot of people would argue saying that's not very creative, but I say it is. All animals are creative. And hunger is an example of this process we call manifestation. Now, some of us hunger to create YouTube. But just like making yourself a sandwich, you are settling in on your ideas, the ones that please you and whet your appetite. Okay, this is an important thing, particularly if you're going to create a business or write a book or do a YouTube channel or make a product, right? I think every great and successful business starts with the creator being hungry in a way. Some stirring. They've noticed something within them that wants to be expressed. Either they've been inspired by what they see and they say, oh, you know what, this neighborhood can use a burger joint. Because the person who comes up with that enjoys eating hamburgers. You see? So you have this hankering or envy, or you notice something that the neighborhood could use. It's just that simple. This is why this is so funny, because people think creativity is this complicated thing, and it's not. And you start thinking, you know, my granddad used to make these great hamburgers. I think the recipe, and you go into your kitchen and you rifle through recipes and you start experimenting with recipes that you like. And you find the perfect burger that you like. Again, you're feeding yourself. So the whole process is simply just looking around you and being inspired by what's needed. Or just being inspired to copy it because you think it's cool. There's really no profound reason to do anything. Like the guys that started Costco really dig this store called Price Saver or something like that. It was a big box wholesale thing, and they were inspired by that store. They liked that thing. They would shop there, and they thought, this would be fun to copy and put our own spin onto it. So sometimes the creative process is mimicking with a slight twist. But you are just kind of thinking how you can pleasantly serve a need. And it begins with a need that you notice. Maybe the two guys that started Costco saw that the store they were shopping at could have served their needs better. So first and foremost, you're serving the needs of the creator, the person who is trying to come up with a new thing. Same would be if you were going to try to sell a skincare product. You would be the one that would use the product, who needs the product, who would consume the product, who would critique the product and make it. So you're always what you would consider serving the master. I'm trying to expound upon a lesson that Jesus said you can't serve two masters. A lot of times we believe our ideas are for other people, and they're not. It's in a closed ecosystem that this creative process works. It's all, you're a complete system. So for example, I am creating this content. Right now, I'm the speaker. I'm doing my best to speak to you. I will also go back and consume the information, digest it, see if it resonates with me, see if it's teaching me something, seeing if it's succinct and concise and it means something. This is for me. I've always said this, that my teachings are for me. My blog, I write for me. I come up with the ideas that I see in the world, and I talk out my ideas. So it's therapy. You see, so I'm serving one master, one ecosystem, right? If you start writing a book, for example, and you start getting into the heads of other people, you lose it. You have to go back and read it for yourself. And a creative person, essentially, I've said this before, but I think it bears repeating that a creative person is pleasing themselves in front of other people. They are teaching themselves in front of other people. They are serving themselves in front of other people. And if the ego gets a hold of the success of it, let's say, for example, you start a steakhouse and you just love your recipes, you love the way you do this and this, and that you eat there. You're part of the quality control team, and your product grows and it gets out of hand, and one day you're eating in one of your franchise restaurants and you realize, I don't like this. This food sucks. So now it's out of your hands, right? You are no longer serving yourself. So we have to remember that it's a singular process. Is it selfish? No, I think this is the secret to success. You're doing it all for yourself, as if you're a tiny little universe that is hungry, that finds a need, that creates an idea or a product or makes a sandwich and enjoys it. Do you enjoy the songs you write? Do you enjoy the paintings you paint? The product is really kind of where this falls apart, because the product at first is shit. When I started playing the organ, my first performances were disasters. But the critique and the coach in me somehow saw the potential to get better. So whatever you start, Remember, it's going to be childlike, it's going to be crude, it's going to be like garage type business, it's going to be homemade looking. I think you should keep the charm in everything that you create and manage the quality yourself. And say, does this perfume that I made, do I really like it? And sometimes you have to step back from it and say, it's too sweet. I really want to make it blah, 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 blah. Right? And this is so true about writing, is that your number one fan has to be you. Your biggest supporter has to be you. And your critic has to be encouraging. And once you organize that, you are serving one master. The creator, the consumer, the learner, the critiquer, the coach. It's all a self-encapsulated process that you see in the universe, right? So if the dry land is too dry, the universe has created parchment, has just scorched earth where the universe needs to rain itself. So it's going to make a thunderstorm, right? So it appears like our needs and what's broken, it allows us to play in the contrast so we can fix things and create things, but it's all fine. The universe destroys itself, it births itself, it feeds itself, it imbalances itself, but in a larger sense, it's an ecosystem, which I described to you. I'm hungry. Go to the kitchen and I want a sandwich, a ham sandwich. Go to the kitchen, make a ham sandwich. Eat it. Be grateful for the entire process. You see, you served the master, the Lord of creation, and you simply demonstrate this in front of people. And you have to be careful that the ego is not involved. If the ego is involved, you're going to try to get likes, subscribers, positive comments, and applause. So the creative process is a slow thing so you can realize why you're doing it. To please the master, the Lord of creation, this person you are that wants to make and give. But you want to keep the love in it. You want to keep the charm in it. Let it be as it is. Whatever product you make, let it be as simple as construction paper and colors. Even something as exquisite as Michelangelo's David is a rock, okay? Yeah, but he chiseled it out, and he must have been a real critic of his work, but he also had to love what he did. So the critic is encouraging. The consumer loves it. And the creator is served all through that ecosystem. That's how you get organized to be creative. You can judge it. It's fine. You can say about something you cook, oh, that's too spicy, or something that your video, you ramble too much. But leave that as a teaching tool. Leave your first book as a teaching tool to your second book, as a teaching tool to your third book. Don't fall for this idea that this conventional thinking that your first little attempt at an idea is going to be a blockbuster. Forget that. It's going to be total garbage. But you have to enjoy when you're creating. You have to enjoy when you're critiquing. You have to enjoy when you're consuming. And make notes in an encouraging, not impersonal way. And eventually, the creator gets better. The consumer is more fulfilled, and the critique is impressed. If you can impress yourself, I think you're organized. If you can help yourself in that way, you're organized. And ultimately, you're serving one master. So I hope that was helpful. in getting organized in the creative process? It was helpful. Please check out my blog if you have a moment, mymorningmotivator.com.